New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Your hosts are two girls who believe that life is awesome, that laughter heals, and that it's possible to find deep spiritual insights in everyday experience.
Here come the girls. It's more than practical. Here come the girls. Way more than merely factual. If you want to know the secrets of a life that's free, listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically.
Hello, and welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. As you can see, I am only one girl at this moment, but I trust in the power that one will arrive as soon as it's possible. So today I am starting this show off as my partner, Dr. Natasha. She's giving blood. I can't keep up with her schedule. She's way too busy for me. I am Robyn Rice Olmsted, and I am the host for Girls Behaving Metaphysically. So, well, hello, New Thought Spiritual Center of Akron and New Thought Media Network. Thanks for joining us. And look, it's our own infamous Wayne Baldwin. Hello, Wayne. We're live. And it's always good to be live with you. So we're all here. Tell your friends, we're live, we're here. They don't want to miss it. So today, our topic was about spirituality and nature and really bringing together, how they intersect and how they cross and their awakening. But what I'm going to do while I'm waiting for everyone to be here and live is shuffle our cards, because we do a card pull of the week. And thank you, Wayne, for sharing our link, sending it out to your peeps. That's great. We love to meet new people. So if you're joining us for the first time, give a shout out in the chat. Don't judge the show on just me, because there's so much more than just me. But what we like to do is we start with the card pull, because all of us metaphysical people look for the signs. We're always looking for signs of what's next, or what we should do next, or which way to turn next, or any of those things. So we pull a card of the day. So Wayne, if you're out there, just tell me when to stop, and we'll see what card comes up. Okay, you're busy promoting. I shouldn't interrupt you. I'm just going to stop. All right, here it is. The card I pulled is the flow of partnership. There it is. The flow of partnership. And what it says is, the ebb and flow of relationship takes me where I need to be next on my path. Well, I don't feel I can talk about this on my own. I think I need to invite someone who has a partner out there. Michael Mangus, please join. Please join in. This is the producer that anyone would want if they ever had a show. Michael Mangus. He is available for your business needs.
Oh, no.
24/7.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Get your checkbook out.
And I'm sure your partner has something to say about that. So what do you feel about that quote, Michael? The ebb and flow of relationship takes me where I need to be next on my path.
For me, relationships mirror where I'm at, and that really gives me information to work on myself. If I'm upset with my partner or with anyone else, is that to see where where my part in it is. Because again, I like to blame, you. Whereas a lot of times, at least for me, is that, and I see this sometimes in others, is that, and I feel this energetically, where individuals are coming from a place of their history rather than from the here and now.
Mm.
So and that the whole idea that relationships are not 50-50 all the time. You on the other show on Rockin' the Love, which is on Wednesdays here on Positively Inspiring New Thought Media Network at 3 Eastern, 1 Mountain Time, that the when we are in a place where, again, that we can honor our partners and also just be honest with them and say, well, you know what, I'm at I'm at 20%, and where are you at today? Well, you may be at 30, you may not be at 80. So how can you negotiate that without killing each other? I think that that's the task. And guess who just came in the room?
I know. It's so exciting. Welcome, Dr. Natasha.
Oh, thank you. I had to get labs drawn today, people. And I was like one of the first in line, but then I get there and they're like, this specific lab can't be drawn until 8 a.m. I'm like, oh, that's exactly when I'm supposed to be on the air. And of course, I also left my phone at home. So it's a great.
It's all good. We have just pulled a card, and
Yeah.
we started with the card that says the flow of partnership, the ebb and flow of relationship takes me where I need to be next on my path.
Okay. Read that one more time, Robyn.
The ebb and flow of relationship takes me where I need to be next on my path.
Okay. All right. So, how have you been, or what's been the discussion around that?
Well,
Because
Michael was just saying his relationship. Sorry. Michael was just saying his relationship, he generally mirrors, what's going on in his life for him. I hadn't really said much. I was here listening to him. So what do you think about that?
Yeah. So right now, I guess when I think about it, I'm automatically just thinking about how that mirrors my relationship, my most important relationship, which is my relationship with myself and the divine as me. Right? Like that's the relationship that I've been looking at. And there is an ebb and a flow in that relationship for sure. That sort of that lays out the path for me. Like quite literally, my next path, my next step. So it's just interesting because I've really been thinking about which relationships I really need to tend to. And I don't always have a consistent practice of like caring for that relationship. And that is my relationship with myself and myself as the divine, like the divine as it expressed as me. Like that relationship needs tending to as much as any relationship does. So yeah. And so
I think that's interesting. I mean, I think I mean, what Michael said, I think I don't really think about it, but that doesn't mean it's not true. Like, I do think that, generally probably what's going on in my relationship outpictures everywhere, whether I, am conscious of it or not, or consciously, tending to it like that. And I mean, that
But
would
your
make sense.
relationship with what, Robyn, or whom?
Well, I think I'm taking it as my primary relationships,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking first about the people that live in my house,
I see. Mm-hmm.
just me. And because I think then I go out and take that out into the world somehow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I can't
Mm.
leave my house and, be upset with my teenager and then be all good everywhere else in some ways. You know what I mean? Like, I can a percentage, but there's still something that's alive in me that's left unsettled from somewhere else, or if there's something exciting for me, you know what I mean? Like, to carry it in successfully, whatever is really going on, or to let it go successfully. But I think that attention to that does kind of create your ebb and flow of life, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I again, like, I haven't been like focused so much externally on my relationships, like in the external world, right? And when I say external world, I mean including the people in my house, because I think I have a tendency to tend to those relationships very well. But my relationship to myself and the divinity that is my essence, I have a tendency to not attend to that very well. And so, because I have been doing that, like consciously, because the conditions of the time, the current zeitgeist that we're living in, I feel is drawing me to what is real, like where I really need to be focusing my attention so that my power isn't siphoned by systems that don't honor humanity. So tending to that relationship with the divine has been very stabilizing for me. And when I say tending to it, I mean consciously tending to it, right? Because I think we all attend to it in multiple ways. We're all evolving and all changing all the time. But I think there's this layer of consciousness that is super required at this time, at all times, particularly right now. And our ability to remember our most God self, especially if you're born in a certain body, I think is so incredibly important right now at this time. So the ebb and flow of that relationship for me with the divine, like for me, it really does. It what was the second part of that, like reading the second part of the card after the ebb and flow?
The ebb and flow of relationship takes me where I need to be next on my path.
Absolutely. So my ebb and flow regarding my consciousness, when I am consciously in, like, caring for my relationship with the divinity that is my essence, and when I'm not, that represents the ebb and flow for me, but it always takes me to where I need to be next.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Agreed.
anyways, and I think it's the most important relationship in my life, because it keeps me remembering that in the face of the political regime, my life matters. Who I am matters. It all matters.
It all matters.
It all matters. So
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I'm like way out there with the question. Like, I'm like,
it's okay.
That's
it's all right. Some days are way out there.
Yeah, but it's so in here, right? That's the paradox. That's a paradox. Like, talking about the divine as the starting point seems like it's way out there. But what we know in metaphysics, what we know in this practice, is that the divine is not way out there. It's everywhere. And it's a relationship that we tend to, through prayer and meditation and through being really mindful of how we move through the world. So it's out there, and yet it's really not. So it's the most intimate relationship I think we can have.
Yeah, I'm just thinking as I look at these cards, because I don't know, as you all know, I have so many boxes of cards, and I don't know, like, other than the animal ones, I don't know how much I've really paid attention to any of them. And I pulled another card here for us, which is Soul's Journey. Can you see that?
It's beautiful. I love the image.
They're beautiful cards. It says, Soul's Journey, living from soul opens me to the magic that exists when I surrender to divine manifestation on its own terms and timing.
Robyn, as always, can you just read it one more time?
Mm-hmm. Living from soul opens me to the magic that exists when I surrender to divine manifestation on its own terms and timing.
Ashe, amen. It's so true.
Yeah. I want it on my timing and my terms, damn it.
When you say that, you mean like the limited egoic self terms?
I just mean,
you are the divine.
Yeah, sometimes I just want it now. I don't want to have to process and think and, I don't know. But I get it. I get it. There has to be timing. So the divine timing right now is that we're going to take a break. And then when we come back, we're talking about spirituality and nature. And I don't know, maybe Natasha will round that out for us a bit more when we come back. Will you do that for us?
We shall see.
Okay.
It's all in the timing. All in the timing.
See? I told you, it just doesn't work the way I want. Okay. All right. So we're going to take a break, go grab something to drink, and come hang out with us in just a few minutes. Right back here on New Thought Media Network. See ya.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
Welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Your hosts are two girls who believe that life is awesome, that laughter heals, and that it's possible to find deep spiritual insights in everyday experience.
Here comes the girl. It's more than practical. Here comes the girl. Way more than merely factual. If you want to know the secrets of a life that's free, listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically.
Hello. We are back right here on New Thought Media Network with Girls Behaving Metaphysically. I am Robyn Rice Olmsted.
And Dr. Natasha Wilson.
And we're so grateful to be with you today.
Yeah.
So we are going to talk about nature and spirituality. And you tell us, Natasha.
I tell you what. What do you want me to
What
tell
we're
you?
going to talk about.
No, I thought, like, you know, when we had talked and looked around themes, there was something about learning from nature or taking our cues from the natural world that really resonated with me. I was having a conversation with my friend in the US, and there's so much happening in the world, but particularly in the US right now. And she had this remembering that the trees in her backyard gave her. And so she was saying how she has this one tree in her yard that must be hundreds and hundreds of years old, right? It must be hundreds and hundreds. And she said, this tree has seen it all. And it's not running around like its hair is on fire, right? It's like there is a deep lesson in the tree. And so, so we ended up just having this really beautiful, loving conversation about the nature of nature, the nature of, in particular, trees, which I'm not convinced that I didn't have a past life as a tree, because I love trees so much. It is like, yeah, anyways. But it was like, you know, what would it look like if we just took our lesson from the trees? Always hands, you know, like you look at the branches, hands always reaching to the sun, to the sky, to the sun, fully surrendered, just fully surrendered. And yeah, and sort of relaxed, sort of in this trust that life is going to life. And there is a place for this, for, you know, anyways. So yeah, that's what's been on my mind in terms of spirituality and nature. It's like, you know, like, what would it look like if we took our cues from the natural world? And for me, I'm very specific about that natural world with regards to trees, because there's lots of scientific evidence and lots of research that really looks at the evolution of trees and also how that's connected to the evolution of humanity. And how in so many cultures, like, trees are the symbol of the spirituality, the baobab tree in West Africa, like, you know, just so many like things, like, anyways, yeah, that's the thing that comes up for me. So what about you?
Well, I think that's really beautiful. I think that, you know, I mean, I've been thinking a lot about, like, just where we take our cues from and where our stories come from, you know, and all of those things. Because, yeah, I was actually watching a program yesterday. Oh yeah, I think I was watching Love on the Spectrum. Have you watched that?
Oh, of course, as someone on the spectrum, of course.
And so, but I mean, they were at the zoo, you know, and I was just listening to them talk about, you know, the sloth only hangs this way and doesn't ever stands up on its feet, and how the owl has 14 vertebrae in its neck and we have 7 or whatever it was. But just all of those things. And I was thinking, like, how fascinating the whole thing is. Like, what if my whole life I hung upside down? I mean, no, but really, and saw the world. What if we saw the world upside down? I
Oh, we
mean,
are.
I know. I was gonna say we're getting that
Sorry, just like you
experience
left that
now.
one way open.
but it's exactly my point. It's like, so it's like, have we been, is all this, going to the zoo as a child or whatever, is all this have we been trained for this moment like this? Because I do believe I believe that we have all been trained for this moment, that we're here right now on purpose for a reason, and we've said yes to, whatever this appearing chaos is. And I think, what if it is to listen to the trees and the animals? I know that's really, I know everybody, it's way woo-woo. It's way out there.
I think we need to be able to hold the paradox that comes with existence on planet Earth. And that means, like, yeah, we're woo-woo and we're grounded, right? Woo-woo meaning like we're able to sort of be able to hold that life really has very little meaning on planet Earth without the process of death. And like, we have to hold these things simultaneously at the same time. Like, we have to be able to hold truths at the same time. And so I think in the past, like, woo-woo has been like, oh, you're just so out there, you're kind of ungrounded. But I'm like, I feel so deeply grounded and woo-woo, right? Like those things are. And I think that's also what nature brings. Like, when I remember that I too am nature. Like, there's no real separation between nature out there and nature me. Like, I'm nature. What happens to this physical thing when I pass? What happens to it? It just turns into dirt ultimately, right? And so there is no real separation. There's no real separation. And yeah, I'm like at this place where I'm like, yeah, I'm woo-woo and I'm so grounded, like so grounded, because that's what nature is. Think about nature is like, nature's so grounding, and spirituality is essence spirit. It's like, it's very light, it's very airy, but it's like, it's also very grounding. And I think, like, this is I don't know, I feel like the time that we're living in is requiring us to be able to walk hand in hand with multiple truths simultaneously.
Yep. Absolutely. I definitely think there is no one way to navigate a situation, and I think, I mean, that's why it's interesting for me. This is where I'm at in terms of everything that's going on in life is, I mean, I get, like, why they teach you that it's all an illusion, and so it feels very much to me like there are different variations of it, and it's all an illusion. And sometimes I think to myself, like, well, I'm the storyteller here, so what is my story? What is my truth? What is my meaning? And then I wonder, what do I do with it? I'm like, okay, so that's my version, and what does it really mean, or does it mean anything? And I think which is, in some ways, it's a great release, to let go of, I mean, to have all that come in and go out. And in other ways, it can be a little confusing, you know? I mean, because I think sometimes, I mean, I would love to have some kind of assurance or something that made me feel like super warm and fuzzy about things going on, you know? And I don't, I mean,
what do you mean?
I mean, like when people say, you know, well, like when people say, well, this too shall pass. This will all pass. I mean, I say that too, but you know, like how and wouldn't it be nice to know really when? And you know, I don't know. It's just that there's pieces of it that I can fit into a metaphysical equation, and pieces of it where I go, I just like I said before with the card. I'd rather have. I'd like a different answer. I'd like to hear from someone. I'd like to phone an expert. You know.
Yeah, I hear you. I do hear you. I hear you. I hear you. You know, it's even like, okay, so this morning, right? So I said to you yesterday, I was like, I'm gonna be the first in line to get my labs done. I'm gonna be there when the place opens so that I can be here at my 8 a.m., which is the time that our show starts. And, you know, I did all the preparation. I had my computer set up, had everything set up. So when I came in, all I had to do was just come in. I already had the stream. Yeah, everything was pulled up, right? I just did all the things. I did all the things. And yet, I get there. I'm not quite the first in line, which is fine. But I have this really lovely conversation with a woman sitting next to me. And I was like, oh, I really thought I was going to be the first in line because I have to go to work at 8. And she was like, oh, do you want to take my number? So she gave me her number because she wasn't in a rush. And her number was like just one ahead of mine. And it was just such this act of like kindness and humanity and like unexpected. It was like completely unexpected, like not something that I could have planned for. And then even that, right? I'm still operating on the plan I put forth. And then I get in and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to make it on time. And I get in, put my arm down. The nurse is going over my lab order. And she goes, oh, I cannot draw this lab until 8 a.m. So it's just like, you know, I feel like there's something about the time that we have got to start to work with that part of us that tries to avoid uncertainty at all costs. Do we have to like it? I don't think so. But I think that it depends. Like it kind of depends. I remember I was listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza, and one of the meditations that and not meditations, like if you read Becoming Superhuman, there's like a lot of chapters sort of dedicated to what I would basically boil down to uncertainty. And how that is where all the magic happens, and our ability to go to that place willingly, or the void, to go to that void, that emptiness, that place where the unknown, going there willingly and sitting with it, knowing that that is our home ultimately. It's also the space of all potentiality. And that's where our consciousness comes into play. It's like, where do we focus our consciousness when we are with that uncertainty? We're in the void of the not knowing of what's going to happen. But we have our ego, right? Wanting things to happen. So I don't know. I feel like we're in a time where, yes, we're all born for this time that we're living in. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. And I think there is something about this time requiring us to sort of build a different relationship with uncertainty and the unknown.
So But along with that, so incorporating the whole nature, uh, nature into the spirituality realm, can you talk about, or do you have a specific time? Like, I mean, I know you said, I know your relationships with trees. Um, but I mean, is there a specific time that really, I don't know, was confirmation of something, or had you realized something, or that, that taught you about yourself and your spirituality through nature?
Um, yeah, it's gonna be super woo-woo though. So I'm gonna own the super woo-woo. So I gone to a silent meditation retreat. I don't know when this was. I don't know, it must have been 2016 or 2017. I don't know. I went to silent meditation retreat. And on my way, so when I was driving back from Joshua Tree through the desert, and in whatever the year it was a year when there was a sort of abnormal amount of rain in the desert. So like
Mm.
all of those mountains that would usually be desert. So I was driving from Joshua Tree back to Culver City, and that whole stretch of desert on that drive, the mountains that would normally just all be like brown, they were all lush and green.
Mm.
And because we have been in silence, like it's such a thing to just be with other beings, and the predominant relationship that you're establishing is one that is marked by not talking, right? So it forces you sort of to come home into like what's happening inside of your own self.
Mm.
And so anyways, on that drive home, after not really having the opportunity to talk, to speak, I was driving, and I swear that there was a song playing. I was listening to what is that song? Not Om Shanti Om, but it was some song I was listening to. And I swear I looked, and the trees looked like they were both breathing and singing the song as I was. And I literally pulled my car over, and the tears just streamed from my face. And it was like the earth is so alive. But our minds, oh, hi, Gil. Our minds are just so busy that we miss that subtle, constant sort of interaction between ourselves and the natural world. And it was like this experience that just affirmed that there's no separation. But my mind is just too busy, right?
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so there's an example.
No, that's beautiful. I think that's beautiful.
Mm.
I think my examples, I can't really think of a specific one, because I think I use it a lot, in that, like, whatever I'm going through, just what shows up. So, if it's a deer walking through the, I used to live in a place where deers would come by my backyard, all kinds of different animals and things like that. You know, this week I was in Seattle for the first time, and it was beautiful. And, like, all their leaves were blowing on the ground, like, and all these cherry blossoms flying around. So it looked like it was like raining snow from the trees, and, and so I took it, there was, it was like raining down white. And this was a moment, last week on my way to this retreat. I don't know why, but I decided to turn my phone on the plane, be a bad girl. And so I turned my phone on, looked down, and I got a note from my sister that my other sister had passed away, transitioned. And so then as I was on this retreat, I'm seeing, all these signs. I'm like, oh, that's Kathy. That's Kathy. That's Kathy. All of those kind of things that, gave me comfort or made me remember, so I feel like nature and those things play a big role in my life all the time without even really, making it a thing.
No, I hear you. I think I told you the day that I met my oldest daughter, the day she was coming to my home, I remember I saw the most gigantic butterfly I had ever seen. Like I was like, I gotta take a photo of this because it's unreal. I've never seen a butterfly this big. And as I was going inside to grab my phone, I spotted this little butterfly earring on my floor. I was like, what is this? Right? Like, I was like, this isn't my earring. So I called my niece and I sent her a photo of the little butterfly. I was like, did you leave this? Or did you lose this when you were here? She was like, no. And then the day I met my daughter, she came in and she was wearing this butterfly dress. And I still keep this butterfly dress. She's way outgrown it. She was 3 then. She's like 9 going on like 35. Anyways, so but it's like, of course, like I just think like it's so, like, and literally her nickname is like my little butterfly princess, right? Like, even though she's like into all things morbid, like Wednesday Addams, like Elphaba from Wicked. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, and a similar thing when my brothers were murdered. Like I remember, like I always got these signs from nature that Ahmad was around. Like I haven't gotten them lately, which means I feel like, I don't know, I feel like maybe he's whatever you do when you transition, which we'll all find out one day. But yeah, I used to get them all the time. These little cues from nature that was like, oh, that's Ahmad, Yeah, for sure. So I totally feel that with your friend who transitioned.
My sister.
Your sister. Sorry, I call my friends my sisters because I don't have any actual sisters. So I hear you. Yes. Yeah. Bless her transition. Bless her transition. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think incorporating nature and incorporating all that there is, I mean, I think the more aware we are of our surroundings and our circumstances, the more they'll talk to us. And, and as far as nature goes, I think the more that if your choice is to be in nature, the more that you're in nature and the more mindful you are in nature, your practice will enhance. Do you think do you have a practice in nature? Or
I don't think I told you, like when I first came on, I feel like, when you shared with me the first card you pulled, that the relationship that is the most intimate right now for me is or closest, intimate meaning the closest, is my relationship with myself and my relationship with spirit expressing through and as me. And I'm consciously tending to that through practice. And so one of the ways that I practice that is I walk almost every day, and I don't walk on a treadmill, I don't walk in a gym. I walk through nature to get my 10,000 steps. So, yeah. So I don't know if it's a nature practice, but it is a spiritual practice that I do outside of an artificial edifice that helps me remember that I too am nature, and that there is no separation between myself and nature. And so when I see things in this thing that we call the natural world, that are these spiritual, like that gives me these spiritual clues, like, well, yeah, my daughter or my brother or whatever. It's just it's a reification that there is no separation from me and nature. And I feel like that's the practice of remembering that there is no separation there. Nature is not somehow just outside of me, right? It resonates because it exists in me. We share, it resonates because it exists in me, because I am it and it is me. Yeah. So my only practice right now, if I had to put it to a practice, would be walking in, like, not inside of a artificial structure of some sort.
Yeah. I wonder, I mean, I think, just thinking about the role that nature and spirituality and this, what we're talking about plays in our lives and in the world, like, I wonder how it would affect, I want to say, like, different organizations, like that, in communities, if communities came together more to celebrate nature and spirituality together, because nature's kind of a neutral thing. You know what I mean? And, like, I don't know, if we were all out there hugging a tree on, with a tree day, or whatever, with some kind of spiritual connectedness to it. I don't know, kind of guiding everybody back to their oneness.
Yeah. Maybe we can ask people to engage that as a practice after this podcast, maybe over the next week. Maybe hug a tree. Maybe sit in the grass. Maybe lay in the grass and just meditate on the sky. Like,
or maybe even tend to one of your plants.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh my God. I'm sorry. My plant is sprouting roots. I have learned that I can grow plants. Like, I have not had lots of success growing plants in soil, but I am some kind of hydroponic goddess. I have, like, plants in water that are just like, why haven't I been doing this? And, like, I had started with little small plants, like the one behind me, because it, like, started dying, and I was, like, doing everything that I could do. And then, like, I just cut off the part that was, like, still green and vibrant. I cut it off, and then I put it in water, and it started sprouting roots over time. And now it's just like, and then I did it with another plant that was dying. And then when we had that cyclone, my lovely, lovely stepson, he came over, and, like, panicked. Like, we have to move everything from the windows. And so all my really big plants, like, he moved them to the center of the room, put them on our twister, because we were going to play Twister over the cyclone, put them on the twister mat. And one of my really big plants broke. It snapped in half. And I was like, I'm going to try to grow it. So I decided to try to put it in water to grow it high. And it's sprouting roots. I'm like, I'm a water goddess.
Isn't that so great? Like, that plants they're unstoppable.
I know. Just give them the conditions. And they're going to do life. They're going to be life.
Well, I think that is a great ending, because I think that's like a message from plants, to just take, if you really, because that's who we are. Somebody asked me a word for me last week on the Leadership Council Committee, Michael, and I was like, I don't know. The only thing that's coming to me is unstoppable. And I was like, Wow. I mean, but that's kind of plants. That's kind of us, because it's true that we all, have our down, and then we get in a little water and refresh and, renew and reemerge and resprout. And, like, what if we just knew that that was really always the plan?
Yeah. 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 I like that. I think that's a beautiful place to end.
I do too. I think if you can take that out into your week and just be with it, nurture a plant and let it nurture you back. Talk to it, see what it has to say to you. Really take that moment to just be with it.
Yeah.
You're making me want to go home and plant my avocado seed.
Oh. I say do it. I'm not planting anything else. I'm like the hydroponic goddess. I'm about to start looking for like some sort of like vase or structure, because I have most of my plants are in pots, but I'm like, because like right now I have this plant that's been growing in water for a couple months now, and it's like it's getting so many roots. I'm like, what do I put it in now? So like, I think I'm gonna like do some research on like people, because I know there are people who grow plants almost strictly hydroponically, and this is the most success I've had with plants is with hydroponics. So I'm gonna look at what kind of structure I can get so that I can continue to grow the plants in water.
Get an aquarium.
Oh, an aquarium. I didn't think about that. But am I gonna have to clean up like mold and how they grow algae? Anyways, I'm gonna do some serious research. Like I'm gonna try to like look into some experts around this. But yeah, I really thought my son had killed my plant, and then I was like, oh my god, it's growing roots and it's growing a new little stem thing coming up, a new like big leaf. It's like those big banana leaves.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my god, but I have it in a big cooking pot, like a big like stock pot. Like that's what it's in. So I'm like, I can't, I don't want to have that cooking pot sitting in my window. So it's on my big windowsill. So I want to find something else really nice to put it in, but I want to keep letting it go hydroponically.
All right. Well, that's our message to you. So hydroponically or not, however you choose, however you get fed, just that would be the suggestion for the week. Just take a minute and be out there with the greenery and the energy and the love of nature and spirit.
For sure.
And we'll see you next week.
Peace and blessings, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Michael Mangus. Thank you, New Thought Media Network, for being dedicated and committed to truth. Peace. We'll see you next week.